Hello everyone, this is Ninja DC, joining again from the React video, this time for MLP S8 Season 8, Episode 20. At least I think so, unless it gets weird with the episode order because of all the leaks. Joining me again is a herd of bronies.
Hello, ponies. I'm a herd of bronies. Welcome back to Let's Watch Season 8.
Next up, Carlos.
I'm a picky penguin. I'm a picky penguin. Picky penguin support. This is Gunmetal Gator saying, I am so happy to be a Nico B fan. Just love that man to death.
Nico.
And also this episode, I am very much anticipating this one for a long time.
Really?
Yes.
Wonder why.
Never build something up ahead of time.
True that.
Next up, Jenn.
Hello, everyone. This is Jen, ready to watch Season 8. In the laptop. Why are you betraying me? Why does my laptop betray me? You were right second about like not getting things built up. Like everyone said, get a 2018 Mac. It'll be fun, they said.
As Rick Moranis once said, even in the future, nothing works.
Perfect.
Oh, Jen, I forgot to ask, did you get the silver or did you get the gray silver?
Hang on. Let me look at what I got here. It's gray, it's silverish. What did I get? Silver. Yes, silver. I got silver.
All right. Just curious. All right, next up, second and data lover.
Yay, second day away.
Welcome. Take your shoes off. Stay a while. And remember, it's fine by me if you never leave. And we can lay like this forever. It's fine by me.
Yay.
Excuse me a minute, I'm gonna go get my insulin. That was too sweet.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel very out of character right now.
No, you sound pretty in character to me.
You make me jealous. You make me jealous of the type of synergy you two have.
Need a room, you kids!
That was so sweet. Alexa, play Despacito.
Alright. But, she sort of make myself...
Better than Despacito.
And,
Siri, play Cardi B. I like it.
But before we begin to give some more,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, before we begin our episode, some more news that depresses me somewhat as a single. Congratulations to our other React member, John, who is now engaged.
Yes!
Yay!
Yes! Congratulations! Yes! I saw the video. I saw the video of the proposal. It was so sweet. It was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But congratulations, John!
He certainly
And
does deserve
Cassie!
it.
We're going to be expecting wedding fan art.
Ooh.
Pretty cool.
Oh, too bad I don't have my fan. That's wrong.
I know just where I can get it.
Alright. Is everyone ready now?
Oh,
Let's see,
yeah.
Let me find the episode. Hold on, where is it? Alright, here. Oh no!
Oh yeah, I'm just heads up, I'm having trouble finding the episodes. I think that link I got was from the Australia feed because it's like dated like a few weeks older. So it might show up like later in your downloads.
Okay.
It's from down there.
Okay. I got it. I got the episode up. Everybody else?
Yay.
Yeah.
Does everyone have it up?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Everyone press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, yes. Remember this callback? Oh, this is
Like the
literally
same face.
Yep.
maybe all part twos.
Huh.
A lot of questions.
What?
What?
I'd like to call to order the first ever meeting of the newest and most exciting club, of which I am the president, founding, and only member, the Washouts Fan Club.
Oh no!
It's you,
That looks
Scootaloo.
cool.
What?
And also, Captain America works for Hydra now.
Yay!
I think that
Did she
also.
say the? Did she say the washouts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, the washouts.
that's literally the title of the episode.
Oh,
I like
okay.
the color though.
It's washed out.
So yeah, Scootaloo betraying Rainbow Dash.
Yay!
Oh dear.
Ain't it so wacky?
This is sounding like the end of times.
Scootaloo not fawning over Rainbow Dash.
Oh, hey, Scootaloo.
Mm.
I was just in the neighborhood.
Oh!
What's this?
Yeah.
Your fan club meeting?
The washouts.
What are you doing here? I could ask you the same question.
Ooh.
Her fan
What
club.
were you gonna tell?
Come on, Rainbow.
New fan club or
Well,
anything. It's no use pretending. I heard everything when I was outside
Okay,
eavesdropping.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
so
the real-
burnt
yeah,
on
I'm
these
the-
cheese ball interactions where everybody
Weird.
is
Sure, it sounds weird, but
entire
it's
character
natural,
consists
and I
of
probably shouldn't because
these
eavesdropping is wrong, but why are you starting a new
cardboard
fan club?
ham-fisted
Maybe it's
reactions.
time for me to explore other fan clubs.
Ooh!
Pointing
wow.
other aminos? How could you?
What is the Washouts? Only the newest and greatest and only stunt troupe in Equestria.
Only.
How can I explain it? Like the Wonderbolts.
It's Scootaloo abandoning her oldest and dearest character trait because teenager and episode of the week and conflicts and stuff. So wacky.
Maybe. You had one for Sweetie Belle as well, right?
Oh my
Are you just
god.
repeating everything I say? Only because my brain feels like it's strapped to one of
Yeah.
those rockets about to explode. You get it.
I really like the interactions so far.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
you're cute.
started out
Yeah.
like, oh, I was just in the neighborhood, but what are you doing? Like, that is as stale as
Uh-oh.
3-week-old bread, but I mean,
Guys. Uh-oh.
what's up?
Where are you on right now?
312.
Sorry. Sorry, I accidentally
15.
three. Wait, can you pause for a second? Are you at 312?
Everyone go back to 3.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry, I tried to turn the volume up and it went too far ahead. Let me try.
All right, everyone go back
My
to 3.
bad.
Rewatching.
Alright, so we go to my bad.
So, we can
Jeez,
get
stupid volume.
picture of Rainbow Dash with wings and fingerbar.
Okay, I'm at 3.
All right, is everyone ready?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Got it.
Thunderbolts aren't cool.
Mm.
And it kind of sounded like she didn't think
Okay, but the second half of it,
But,
what we were saying,
that's great.
it felt like
I mean,
it felt like the
I'm not worried about looking
follow-up
like
to
somebody else.
a first act that we didn't see.
Hmm.
Oh
yeah,
boy, do we have something in insanity here?
Yeah, Scootaloo wanting to move on to new things and it
Scootaloo's growing up.
asking Rainbow Dash to understand and all that. Like, yeah, it seems like there could have been like a first act to that in which that would have fit. As is, it's kind of
Wow, they do look
like-
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
this is the conflict we want to do. It's very sad. She do still love Rainbow Dash. We don't care. Next.
Okay. Mm.
And who wrote this episode actually?
Nick Confalone.
Oh,
Oh no.
nice.
Oh boy.
Yay.
No.
Ow, Chase.
Well,
Come on, take it.
well, that fits to a T with how ham-fisted it is so far.
Oh my gosh, she turned
Cupcake.
sunset. Oh my gosh, she turned Sunset Shimmer into cupcake. She's at it again.
I want those cupcakes.
I
She
walked
turned
into
Sunset Shimmer into
those
cupcakes. Oh my god, she's at it again.
But look at what we're sitting on. Hello, the Thunderbolts have bleachers.
What are we sitting on?
Rainbow Dash! Every audience sits on bleachers!
Wow.
She's
Hey.
too used to sitting on clouds.
Oi. Rainbow Dash, everybody eats popcorn!
Oh,
This really is a McCunflone
Oh,
episode.
this looks nice. Who is it? Ah!
Quality confetti cannon work.
Pinkie Pie.
I'm sorry, did they say this is the Washouts?
Yes.
Might want to check your grammar on that.
Yeah.
They washed out of grammar class.
No.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's thinking of Jackass right now?
No, you're not. I'm thinking of it too.
A little bit.
Oh, this one, it looks like, yeah, they're supposed to be
This is a little bit more
successful.
extreme.
All that needs is there is like a pony that says like, "Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass."
Yeah.
I think this is more of
a cannon.
this reminds me of like
Well,
extreme sports.
yeah, like, these guys are supposed to come
X
out looking
Games.
cool.
Or
Not
Ninja Warrior.
like
Or Ninja
jackasses.
Warrior.
Yeah, or
It's more
Evil
like Evil
Knievel.
Knievel.
Yeah, hey, I said.
Or better yet, Ninja Warrior or something.
Ooh. This is like Trixie's Magic Show, but more actiony.
Oh, now Rainbow Dash
Dennis
understands.
Trixie.
Oh,
Okay,
really?
well, I mean, I hope the whole plot is not going to be Rainbow Dash trying not to admit that she likes these guys.
Go up and talk to them.
Well, from knowing one plot point,
After all, one of the reasons there's a Rainbow Dash fan club is because I'm fearless. Observe.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Oh.
Hey! So, as a fellow aerobatic professional, I really enjoyed your show. Actually, you might recognize.
Okay, so that's not going to be the whole plot.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Oh, haven't heard that one a long time.
Join the club.
And they don't care.
Oh my gosh, she's so happy.
No, I mean literally, join the club. We're called the Washouts because we all used to be Wonderbolts just like you.
What?
Until we washed out.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh.
Name's Rolling Thunder. I got booted out of Wonderbolt Academy because of flagrant disregard for hazardous weather. If doing barrel rolls through 900 million volts of electricity in a raging thunderstorm is wrong, then I don't want to be wrong.
Oh my god. She has an Australian accent.
Nice to meet you.
What's your story?
Oh.
Alright,
So,
Okay.
just in case you forgot, this was a McCunflone episode.
Feeling a little from inside out here.
Why do I get the feeling?
Yeah.
dust. Rainbow Dash.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
They're going to battle up who's going to be the parent now. Who's
Lightning
going to
dust.
I should have known you were the brains behind a crazy idea like the Washouts. Or should I say, lack of brains?
Oh.
It's really
Scootaloo. Don't you remember the last episode, the last season, in which you talked about
She
Wonderbolts
doesn't.
Academy?
She doesn't.
Oh,
She never even was in the Wonderbolts. She was just a
Yeah,
cadet.
best thing that ever
Mhm.
happened to me.
They,
Great to see you, Wing Pony.
Sure.
I heard you're.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I'm still mad at me. Look, was it wrong of me to endanger the lives of your friends? Yeah, but hey, now I only endanger these knuckleheads.
She's got a point there.
The unsure laugh.
He's a little too happy about that.
I know you missed me.
Yeah.
Oh.
We blew every pony out of the sky.
Mm.
Really? Actually, yeah, really. All that wind was totally dangerous, but we had fun, right? Two fastest times
Okay.
in the Dizzytron.
Like-
And it almost killed every pony. That's great.
Lightning Dust went from, like, reckless to a sociopath in the last episode, so, I don't know. It seems like they're kind of trying to go somewhere in between.
Your show was pretty dynamite. Want another secret? We basically ignore everything the Wonderbolts ever taught us about safety.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
There's the moral.
Safety rules for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't listen to her, kid. All their rules were just ways of keeping their little club
Oh,
exclusives
getting
so they
her
could
to
feel
the
good
dark
about
side, are you?
themselves. Pony feel bad.
Join the
It's about
dark
finding the
side.
best
So,
the
frenemies or
best of the
full-blown
best.
enemies?
I started the Washouts because I believe any pony can be the best of the best.
Ooh,
Oh.
who likes that?
It's sort of like
Oh, boy.
pre-Coldfish.
During the finale, I caught the old hind leg in the crushinated jaws of Smash-A-Lot. Patent pending.
Yeah, that pony has a lot of charisma and character.
Which one?
The purple one.
The Australian one?
The Thunderbolt.
Yeah, the group is like the whole group is a cool idea. It's like
I wasn't asking you.
Ooh.
Oh my
you're
gosh.
cute. But
Face.
you have washed out of the bolts, which is kind of our thing. And also,
Oh, okay, she has rules. That's good.
that, and you're a kid, and
that's it. You're coming with me.
like even if you are an orphan, there's someone's permission you would have to get.
Think about you joining just
Yeah.
to drop out for the Washouts. Say hi to Spitfire for me.
So we're going to the Wonderbolts Academy.
Simultaneous inverse displacement roll. Would have been more cooler through the crushinator jaws of Smash.
Dealing with your teenage daughter.
This is what I was telling you about. I got
Alright.
this.
Because growing up in conflict of the weekend and stuff.
Full body wing and hoof gas, drinking through a straw.
Oh, that
They've
sounds
given us practice.
bad.
Well,
Wait a minute, I think I know this.
Well, la dee doo da da.
I'm strong.
That sounds familiar, right? Second.
Yeah.
Tricks with my new friend, Lightning Dust. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you play that game, you're gonna find out it's pretty hard to stunt tricks in a full body wing and hook gas, drinking through a straw.
Oh my god.
An event out by the river.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
A Matt Foley reference.
Telling myself I'm gonna touch the sky.
Have you tried it before, Spitfire?
What is
What in the world?
They're going full force.
When you can't go out in the sun.
I'm sorry, but is this episode already reaching to the point of like, I'm honestly getting more entertained by this episode than the past few seasons Wonderbolt episodes?
It's possible.
What
That
was the
bar
last
is not
one?
really high.
Newbie
I
Dash.
mean, the one with the Wind Whistler, the Sky Stinger, that was alright.
Like
I mean,
Spitfire, I think Spitfire overdid it a little bit.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
ironically, I think the best Wonderbolt episode, if you count, is the one with Lightning Dust. If you count it as a Wonderbolt episode.
Maybe. I don't know what the competition even is.
I mean, like, the only
Remember.
episode you mentioned was...
Well, okay, if you count Sonic Rainboom, I think that's the clear winner.
I mean, well, I meant more as like being a member of Wonderbolts.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Rainbow Dash. Stop.
Wow.
This is too much.
That rainbow is so inconsiderate.
Oh no, not the
You can
decal.
take a
Wow.
you can take a sticker like that.
Yeah, that's a decal.
Yeah,
Waka waka waka.
He's
Oh
gone.
my god.
Hey, look, it's that
Ow.
baby from that Mare-to-Well episode.
Sorry, I was just
Oh.
tell me you got that stuff.
Twilight likes the washouts.
Doing an autograph session before practice.
Wow, Twilight actually getting interested in this.
Actually, I can't believe Scootaloo ditched me to watch them practice. Why can't she see how dangerous they are? That's kind of the whole draw. It's exciting. But it's like, the harder I try to convince Scoot they're dangerous, the more she likes them.
Teenagers love.
Yep,
like,
it's
drama
like
and
your
danger.
your teenage child.
What is it?
Literally rock and metal when it came to overprotective parents who were saying like it's corrupting the youth.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making it more about like Rainbow Dash's ego and like kind of like in the way it was back in non-compete clause, just like more for effect than anything else. Like,
Oh
my
so
god.
wacky, wacky.
Autograph session's over. Unless you want to buy short fuses, limited edition half-eaten tomatoes.
No.
What the heck? Oh my god.
Poor sandwich.
So angry.
Maybe short fuse and Paul McColt ought to like talk to each other.
Yeah. Or anger from inside out. Oh no, yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Scootaloo has defected.
But she
Trying to talk to Scootaloo.
What are you doing?
You forgot the part about why some kid who with no experience is someone you need in your group and your first recruit.
Ugh, let me guess. You'll be in a full body wing
Oh, she actually did that.
She knew it. She had heard that before.
I have bad news. I'll never be the best of the best or wonderful because I can't fly.
Yeah, I had a feeling about that.
And now it's a scene like this.
Doesn't mean I can't do something awesome, like strapping my scooter to a multi-stage liquid fuel rocket and jumping 22 wagons lined up in front of a roaring crowd.
Okay.
Well, you know,
Scootaloo.
she's kind of got a point there.
Yeah.
It sounds dangerous still, though.
It's like,
Scootaloo, are you sure that's what you really want to do? Absolutely. And there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Oh.
You're right. You're your own fool, and you have to make your own decisions.
Good. Because I already have.
Ooh.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, this episode is like the right material with the wrong delivery. Like, honestly, I feel like she's barely been a presence in this so far. She's been playing mostly the same note the whole time, including since the beginning, which is why I said it feels like there's a first act we didn't get to see.
Maybe.
Watch out for the dust, because it's lightning!
The newest member of the Washouts will be rocket sledding down that hill, up that ramp, and over all 22 wagons.
But honestly, like last time, I will say, Lightning Dust does kind of have a charisma.
In One Piece, that's for sure.
That's not a bad nickname.
Oh, Applejack doesn't seem worried.
No, it's no more demeaning than Short Fuse.
I actually started Equestria's first Washouts fan club, as far as I know. So this is a real honor, ma'am. Do I call you ma'am? You land this jump? You can call me whatever you want.
Oh.
Call you Sweetie Pie. Can I call you Frank? The Frank.
Can I call you Shirley?
Maybe a little.
Well,
Any pony tested it before? Where's the fun in that?
Who cares
Oh
about
boy.
practice?
no, yeah.
Who cares about tests?
No test, yeah.
Thinking of backing out, are you?
Okay, are they? Actually,
They're going to push it.
Are you the
They're going to push it to the brim.
or not? Of course.
okay. This is kind of exactly how Lightning Dust went out the first time, which is, okay, we need her to be the bad guy now, let's,
It seems
forget
this
about-
episode is like it's trying to pull off like 2-3 different morals at once, and they're not really working well together.
Yeah.
that might be a good way to put it, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
And Rainbow Dash comes in to save her at the
Gumball.
last second.
No.
Oh,
There she comes.
yeah.
Oh.
I know I was supposed to let you make your own decisions, but that doesn't mean I can't swoop in and save you from something.
Aw. That's so cute.
I've already done the trick myself. Great.
Mhm.
So you won't mind how that rope's about to coil around your hoof.
Oh! Bye-bye.
Team Rocket's crossing off again!
You're going to end in the Full chest, right? Bringing forth strong.
Well,
It's
I
so
mean,
dark.
unless it drags her back down too.
She only wanted a good show, even if it meant I got hurt. That's not the kind of
Okay, it's just like the first time where like Lightning Dust was a morally gray character who, like, I mean, she was wrong, but like there were reasons not to, or to consider her Rainbow's friend, and then like, once again, like at the last minute, from that to sociopath.
The Washouts fan the Rainbow Dash fan club.
No, school fan club. Yeah.
Alright, this is just
Aw.
cheesy.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Scootaloo hasn't really like done anything to get a fan club.
Some stuff like that. She learned her lesson.
I mean, like, I could buy a Rainbow Dash and a couple of Rainbow Dash's friends doing this for Scootaloo, but like, Scootaloo actually catching on as a fan club, I mean, why?
You'd be surprised. You'd be so surprised at who would actually consider that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, granted, you hype up some random person, like if Charlie Zelenoff can presumably have a fan club, sure, Scootaloo can, but it's the same fan club that specifically was rallying around Rainbow Dash, who, has, heck, since the day we met her, at least been a promising talent in, like, who'd been making a name for herself. Scootaloo, I mean, as far as we've seen, at least, including in this episode, really hasn't.
Yeah, but I think it's just like a symbolic gesture of like, you don't need to idolize over me. Just be a fan of yourself. Like, be like self-empowerment.
Yeah.
So this is another way of saying, like everything else in this episode, it's the right idea with the wrong delivery.
Well, here's my, like I was saying before, like I feel this episode, the problem is not focused enough, where it feels like there's 2 or 3 different morals going on at once and they don't really work together. Like, one moral is about Rainbow Dash needing to, like, basically having like keep making new friends but keep Discord sort of like thing, was like, hey, it's okay for like someone who admires you to admire someone else sort of thing, so you're not like your own ego like hurt someone else's like upset, that sort of plot line. Then there was a plot line about the whole like motivation of the Washouts, where like, hey, we failed Wonder Boats, we're still doing our own thing, like we're not conventional fired, we can do our own thing and all that. Then there's like the third moral, which is about safety, about how like, oh, you can't can't be too risky at the same time. Like, you have to be careful what you do so you don't end up in a full body cast sort of stuff. And they don't really work well together.
Like, really, and underneath all of them is a better moral, a better point. Like what, Rainbow Dash, instead of the whole, but my ego, like, if it were about her, like, actually feeling like she's not Scootaloo's idol anymore, if it was more about the personal relationship between them, that could have been stronger. The relationship with Lightning Dust and Rainbow Dash, I mean, heck, I could have done a whole episode about them being frenemies and not like, hey, maybe Lightning Dust isn't so bad. Oh, she is. Like, no, heck, make them, I don't know, Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus. Give them a frenemies relationship. I think that'd make for a ton of fun. It already did for like the minute we got it.
Here is my like how I feel this episode would work better. One, cut the like Rainbow Dash's ego plot. Just like maybe keep 1 or 2 jokes about being like, oh, it's ego, but it's more about her concern about Scootaloo. And like just cut that part out. That frees up like a third of the episode. 2, change the ending where Lightning Dust doesn't intend to put Scootaloo in danger, but she still does because of the way she's conducting herself with this thing. And at the end of the day, she still tries to save Scootaloo too. So it becomes like, oh yeah, we can do these stunts, but we do need to do some safety with it. That way she's not just a complete D-bag. Like, because she goes from being like relatable, it's like, oh yeah, like to being like, it's like, oh, let's just strap a little kid to a giant rocket. Nothing wrong can happen from there.
What could go wrong?
Actually, the Team Rocket comparison is kind of apt because now they basically blasted her out of the episode until the next time they want to use her as a villain.
That was such a almost appropriate exit for Lightning Dust.
Yeah, I just want to put out this feels like what the show's MO is for like villains or sort of like characters that were morally gray, like sort of like going into like the villain role, like Flim and Flam, like from their appearance. Like at first, it was like people were questioning about like, oh, was it morally right for Applejack or like Granny Smith to like put their farm up and like in a deal that they offered because they wanted to steal their business and such. And at the time, the fandom was just quite split on that until much later on when they were shown as clear-cut villains. And I feel like that has kind of like been happening here again. And it's not specifically like Lightning does. It's just more of like a show with like its antagonists. Like, I mean, Trixie went through the same thing back in season 6. But instead of like what happened with Trixie, it's like Lightning does like, oh, I'm just gonna be like very much like ruthless, and it's like almost mimicking like Wonderbolt's writing of Lightning. Does like, okay, maybe I'm just going a bit too far at some things. I just wanted to be fast. I'll keep up the pace here. Are you cadets? Or are you guys just lollygagging until the end? It's like, ooh, I made an oopsie with a tornado and nearly killed all of Rainbow Dash's friends. And I don't even care about them at all. It's like, it's like even with the new writers, they seem to repeat the same flaw that the old writers went through, or maybe they were just like, okay, we have to do this like this because that's how the old writers did it with this character, and it's just like,
to be fair, that might be sins of the father kind of thing.
Oh my god!
I'm also wondering, the others doesn't mind these things happening to Scootaloo. The only one that seems to care is Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, and it's like
it's a little weird.
And it's not weird because like one, we don't have any on-screen presence of any Guardian figures or anything like that. Only Rainbow Dash adopted like that sort of trait to take care of Scootaloo, aside from her idolizing her. And it's like, it makes sense for her to be the one through this conflict because it's like, yeah, it's like still feeling like that theory of like, Scootaloo's a pony orphan, Scootaloo's a pony orphan, when we already have an actual orphan in the series now. Yeah, and it's just, it's like, your parents don't even care about you. Like, oh, you're doing this risk because you're just autonomous by yourself and such.
Yeah, if Scootaloo does have parents, they are the worst parents in the history of. Well, no, they're not, but they're the worst parents we've seen in Equestria.
I don't know about that either.
Never
like, we got some.
I mean, Spoiled Rich is, well, heck, she was meant to be the new Butt Monkey character, so we would be mad at her and not Diamond Tiara. But okay, she probably would have, if Diamond Tiara was like risking life and limb to join the Washouts, she probably would have said, "Get away from those low-life ruffians at once!"
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, my head canon is that one of the adult ponies, besides Rainbow Dash's parents, is one of them at least is Scootaloo's parents. So I'm going with the unicorn guy because that'll explain why she also can't fly, because
yeah, didn't it get confirmed a while ago that she was living with her aunts or something?
Oh yeah, back in season 4 with Flight to the Finish. And but it's like, even then, the aunt is being like one of the worst parents right now. Yeah, we've never seen anyone. We just only heard a rambling of that. That was really it.
I mean, to be fair, look how long it took us to get the actual Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy's parents.
Yeah,
this is true.
Which, by the way, we had a cameo, and then see that cameo at the end of the episode, which I'm like, actual strong continuity here. I respect that.
Yeah, for some reason, this show does not like families.
No.
Yeah. Except for the Apple family.
Right. That's the only family they only focus on. That's
early on, I kind of thought the idea but early on I kind of thought the idea was how this is in many ways sort of an old world, and the concept of a teenager is still a fairly modern one. Like, back in even the last century, which we've only been in the new one for 18 years, like halfway through the last century, I think childhood was still kind of a sink or swim proposition. You did have to be willing to do an adult's work at points very on, and that kind of seemed like what they were going for, that like, just because by today's standards we would label them kids doesn't mean that that's the role they're like best suited to play. But then like now I guess they're like well, not only does it seem like they want the whole they've grown up plot, and I have my own feelings about how that went, but that aside, so like now that they've gone there, like okay, they've really grown up, they've inherited the roles of princess of friendship and friends. We may as well do plots with the parents. I mean, that's a whole untapped bit of potential. We could drag them in for a couple of episodes, couldn't we?
Yeah.
So.
We can try to make Fluttershy's brother a relatable and not a horrible character.
Try to make him a character who has totally always been there.
Yeah, not just be like, oh, let's not see his progress as like a somewhat striving, like a working Pegasi. Let's forget about his existence after this episode at the beginning of Sassy Shy.
Yeah, but something I really do like about this episode was the place where Scootaloo goes like, well, I can't fly, so I have to know something else.
I feel that should have been the center of like the moral they picked with the episode.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, like, there are people who are watching this, like, just seeing a relationship episode between Rainbow and Scootaloo, one where the relationship changes, and are listening to us here and like all but pissed off. Like, why are you not going into? Would you quit being wet blankets and up yours? And to be fair, this is in many ways a great idea. Scootaloo finds something she can excel at, and it doesn't include Rainbow Dash. That has a boatload of great stuff you can do with it, and they do a couple of things with it in this episode. The moment between Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash there, where Rainbow Dash swallows her pride and Scootaloo doesn't say thank you for it, instead says, yeah, that's right, you better swallow your pride, and who also says, like, yeah, this is my chance and stuff to do something awesome, and
thing is
those couple of moments really work. It's just like they're also packed into an episode that cares more, or cares at least as much about Rainbow Dash redecorating Scootaloo's treehouse so she can get back to stroking her ego as fast as possible, and complaining that the Washouts stole the idea for bleachers and popcorn.
I feel like this episode. Oh, sorry.
I was just trying to say is well, I didn't mind a bleacher joke. I just felt like everything that was leading up to is like that plot line should have been a lot shorter. Where like Rainbow Dash's ego just should have been like a quick thing, and then moving on to the main thing. And also, like, I was gonna say, like, well, this like could have been great with the moral, like, I can't do what you can do, but I can still do this. Would have really worked for this episode because, like, basically fans have theorized before Scootaloo got her cutie mark. They theorized that she would be like a stunt like Scoot driver. Like that's why everyone was like, that was a huge fan theory for like years. So essentially, like have like her doing those stunts. And the show's like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense why she'll go for that. And then it's sort of like at the end of the day, just sort of throw it away. It's like, oh, okay then.
Yeah, it's really like a huge detractor for like the what if after the series ends for Scootaloo, because like that's clearly her career path, but it's like, but the way that we can rectify it is if by season 9, if they have her do like the compromise between both routes and have her start doing like the stunt themes, but like model after the Wonderbolts, sort of make like a ground troop, which might even include some Earth ponies or unicorns and the like for like a more inclusive stunt group, then I can definitely see it working.
Or if they at the end of the day didn't have Lightning Dust still be a jerk. Like,
yeah, just be like, hey, that's my copyrighted material. Oh, see.
I actually think like she's going to be the protector of light, but I have my own theories.
God dang it. Speaking of copyrighted material, Voltron got blocked.
No.
Right when you said the copyrighted material.
I'm sorry, Derek. I'm sorry.
Aww.
Yeah.
Still matches every.
There you go. Snuffing SOPs.
I was actually thinking about something really bad to do to make the episode better. Actually hurting Scootaloo.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. That I was actually thinking
having
about
Scootaloo actually get hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't like that, and I don't think like they're going to do that to a fault though.
Yeah, well, that could be like, I mean, I don't know, the show, does paint those like that, but yeah, like, okay, Rainbow Dash steps aside willingly, Scootaloo, goes for it, like, alright, I'm gonna do something awesome now, and then gets hurt, and then, like, sees her dreams literally crash in front of her, and then, like, maybe she and Rainbow Dash has to help her work back up. I mean, that would have some potential, to be sure.
Yeah, but I feel like in the way like these writers would do, they wouldn't go that far. And I'm like,
what's the closest we've had to that?
Yeah, it's like the closest.
Rainbow Dash hurt, like
Rainbow Dash broke her wing, but that was more like comedy and. Heck, that was like another day on the job for Rainbow.
And we had Twilight in a wheelchair, but that was more.
That was 100% comedy.
Yeah.
So like somebody crashing and burning. Well, they have. I mean, we had like Pinkie Pie's collapse in Pinkie Pride, but I didn't Pinkie buy Pie. That for a second.
No.
I mean, I actually, I bought it a lot more in Party of One, and I guess that would be maybe the more apt comparison, just like somebody feeling really shot down.
But I have to admit about this episode. At the very least, we can all agree that it's in the top 5 of season 8, right?
I think so too. There is, I think it could be. I think it could be. There is one little thing. There is one thing that I think they could have missed a little bit that I wish they could have expanded more on this.
I mean,
it's pretty much Scootaloo is growing up. Scootaloo is growing up. I don't know. Maybe I agree a little bit about it. Like, executed the wrong way, but part of me was like, I don't know. I think there could have been a better way to show that. Well, I don't know. Maybe there wasn't any other better way to show that, when she's growing up. Actually, no, wait. The one perfect moment where she's growing, where she openly admits she can't fly. That kind of hurt. That kind of hurt to see. But it kind of hurt to see. It was like, oh my gosh, she just admitted it. She's admitted it, and she's come to terms with.
No. She never did it before. She never did it before.
She never openly said it. She never openly said it. She was always trying to overcome it. She's always trying to overcome it. But now she has said it in bold. She said it pretty passionately, like, I can't fly. So I'm like, wow.
Doesn't that go against her character though?
No.
I don't think it does. I think it shows. I think it doesn't. I think it shows that she's growing. That she's growing up, and it goes with the path that maybe that she's accepting like her what she's got now.
But I mean, she's taken like a lot of effort in the past to overcome it, and now she's just gonna throw that away and admit, oh, I can't fly, I guess.
No. Okay, Alex, listen, it's like the attempt that she tried to do in Flight to the Finish. That was her like trying to like say like improve herself within like a time crunch about like flying and just overall like exhausting herself like mentally and physically to the point of like, are you gonna be okay for the equestrian games like cheerleading tryouts?
I don't know about like unpacking an episode to like, oh, we'll see she's built up to this point, but I mean I do feel like the last time we left Scootaloo on that note, it was more like well, I guess Flight to the Finish would be the big one if we were on a note of like bittersweet acceptance of it almost. So I mean I guess like the only explanation we would have then from there to here is okay, passage of time now that bittersweet acceptance to like, okay, it sucks, but we're past that by this point, and that's and honest, I guess.
And
well, the one
also taking all of those grown up, things she wants to do.
Well, I don't know about. I mean, you could probably spin all that one way or another. I guess just like for me, it's just mostly the fact that for the note we were on with her last time, I can accept passage of time as the reason she's at the place she is in this episode.
So you wouldn't really call that a gap in character development?
Well, we've gone from what was it, flight to the finish. Like, what if my wings never get me off the ground? Okay, but you're all kinds of awesome anyway. And then, okay, I guess we've seen her wish for it a couple of times since then. But so I mean, like, what's the character development that you think is missing from there to here? Just like,
I don't know,
say, like, I'm still awesome, even though I can't, just like something like that.
I think it's good for her to admit it, yeah.
Actually, come to think of it, like, even in this episode, she doesn't really completely get the, you know what, I do believe I'm awesome. Like, if they wanted to do that, they probably still could.
But Alex, to give you like a potential in between, maybe we could have had like an episode of Scootaloo just being like downtrodden, like seeing like I don't know, like I feel like I'm just like an earth pony, like, but a weaker earth pony who can't even do anything because these wings are useless. Like maybe like an episode.
I guess so.
It's like that's the only thing I could think of that could possibly fit that. Aside from that, it's like the I can accept this like sudden shift of like I can't fly. As one is like it's a Nick Confalone move of like just being blatant about like certain things for like dramatic event, but at the same time, it's literally shattering the illusion of like everything's gonna be okay. This is gonna get fixed, right? No.
Actually, come to think of it, anybody else kind of wish somebody else had written this episode?
No.
I do.
What was the question? What was the question?
He wanted
somebody else had maybe written this episode.
Do I wish someone wrote it?
Someone else would write this episode that wasn't Nick Confalone.
You know what? I truly can't answer that. I truly can't answer that because I don't know who could and if it would even be better. So
I mean,
jury's out for me.
I kind of need a refresher. What else is Nick Confalone screwed up?
Let's see.
What did he did the mod couple this season.
Okay, yeah.
The original Yak episode.
No need to say any more. You got me at mod couple.
He's responsible for stick in the mud.
Yes, he's responsible for.
I mean, like,
no.
Well, like,
no. Second, calm day down. Calm day down. I cannot take the evil giggling. I cannot take the evil.
Where were we now? I mean, yeah, Nick Confalone, like, his strength is always stick in the mud. Oh boy, it keeps getting more.
Stick in the mud.
Yeah, I mean, the thing he does has almost always been, like, for better and for worse, just, like, sort of burlesque, and not the R-rated definition of that word, but yeah, just played up, fun-loving sort of episodes. And I mean, he doesn't even seem to like care, like structuring a story to build a perfectly planned out arc from beginning to end. That never ever seemed like a top concern of his, even in his best episodes, really. So I mean, yeah, an episode where the greatest strength is the serious relationship between Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash really just feels like a bad fit for him.
Yeah. It's like, honestly, it's like, I feel like Nick Confalone's greatest strength right now is just focus on the side characters, maybe not go with like the main characters because he doesn't do so hot. Just, I mean, like Break Up Break Down was one of the better episodes of season 8. And that was his one.
Yeah, like when he latches onto something, I mean, he seems to look for any and every excuse to have like over the top fun with characters. And when he latches onto something that is kind of inherently over the top and fun about a character, it seems like he at least manages to bring something to the table. But I mean, yeah, then you get mod couple where like he's decided Mod is one of the funniest characters on the show because of how far we can push the she's bland and yeah.
There's a male version of her. That's absolutely annoying.
Or she's bland and she doesn't get it. And you know what? I bet that I can push that even farther. I bet I can make her even crazier or even more straight-faced in the face of over the top. I mean,
so yeah,
I'll bat, and I guess I'm trying to. I hate the fact that I'm having to call back Mod Couple right now, but it seemed like just as much as anything, Pinkie Pie was his quote-unquote secret weapon in that episode. Like, yeah. How far can we push her?
So he didn't have a secret weapon in this episode? That's what you're saying?
I don't know what I was trying to say. I mean,
I feel like this episode premise was really good. The fact that it was just mishandled badly, yet at the same time, it's like that good premise was strong enough for me to say, like, I consider this a good episode, but I just can't even put it, like, anywhere above that because, like, great would mean you know what you're doing. This is a good episode on the concept of its concepts and its content, really. Just maybe it mishandled a lot. It mishandled a lot of stuff, but I guess I did have a lot more fun with this episode than a lot of season 8. So it's a resurgence of like the good and the strong bad qualities you can find in an episode. It's just really what's your hankering, really. I can't even go as far as say it's controversial in that nature. Not in the way of like, oh, it has some sort of like a political in charge something. It's just it has an equal amount of good and an equal amount of bad. And yeah.
I wasn't cutting you off. That's
Oh yeah, and for like Nick Confalone, just looking back, like he was like a decent writer back in season 5 and 6, but after that, no, it's only like 2 episodes out of like the last 4 episodes that he's written that I find to be like quite enjoyable, and he had a bit of track record earlier. And it's like, and all this involves like characters that he's written for. Like he's done Rainbow Dash before in like Saddle Row Review. He's done Pinkie Pie and Heartbreakers.
Rainbow Dash. She wasn't exactly the biggest player in Saddle Row Review. She was one of many.
One of many. Yeah. But aside from that, it's just like he's done solidly with like Discord Spike and Big Mac, which that seems to be a running trend. Yeah, like just give him like the guy's episode.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate his enthusiasm, but I mean, I guess I always kind of saw him as an up and down sort of writer. Like, I mean, I always say like, I mean, you know, you can be as fun loving as you want, but I mean, execution matters, and the fun loving writer who was my show stealer.
Dave Polsky.
So actually, yeah, probably. And I feel like his episodes, I mean, they're not only really fun and like fun loving, but they're also I don't want to say tightly written because that makes it sound like that almost does injustice to how sort of like breezy and just lighthearted they usually are. But I mean, like, that's usually the best kind of tightly written where you don't even see the seams. And Nick Confalone, I mean, love his enthusiasm as often as not, but even in his best episodes, I feel like you kind of do.
I mean, like, let's look at his first episode, for example. He actually wrote Pinkie Pie well in that episode in which the acts were just awful, terrible beings that shouldn't have existed around the time of season 5.
And even convince us that it's about Pinkie Pie and not Twilight. he resorts to giving Pinkie Pie a totally separate subplot halfway through that goes all over the place and amounts to nothing except that Pinkie Pie randomly says something after she finishes it. That is their excuse to tie that in. The moral is that we shouldn't try to make Equestria feel like your home. We should try to make you feel at home in Equestria. And I learned that in my subplot because it involved other ponies that helped me or something. I guess.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all why they would end up with like that sort of resolution for Pinkie to think of that as she was traveling. Yeah, it just. But at least Pinkie Pie was enjoyable in that episode. That's
what I'm saying. Like he almost always manages to dig into at least something good. But yeah, like execution matters. Darn it.
Yeah, execution does matter.
Getting back to this episode, maybe.
Hey, let him finish.
Yeah, like the Washouts overall, it's quite the enjoyable ride with some actually interesting side characters in which I totally would want to see fan art of, because honestly the Washouts themselves and personality are quite vibrant. Even
especially
so
short fuse. Especially short fuse.
I'm definitely a fan of the color.
It's really a more version of Firebrand. I mean, what's not to love about that?
Wouldn't it be? I still think it'd be so funny. Wouldn't it be funny if you find out Short Fuse is like a cousin of Paul McColt?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! That would be like the greatest thing ever. Be like, I just said, like, here's my cousin Short Fuse. He's like, hey, Paul, and all of a sudden they could be like talking about the hot meals.
And it's like the reason why he doesn't mention him is because he's red. That's probably the explanation why.
That's why I said. That's why I said potential. That's why I say potential, or maybe potential distant cousin or something.
That would be entertaining.
That'd be hilarious, and they could just yell at each. And they could just yell trying to bring the McColts down. But then again, they're not really fighting anymore. But still, it'd still be hilarious though.
But
jokes,
also
I feel that's another one. I feel like I've seen all the times I need to that the character overreacts that much.
Yes.
He's so mad about the sandwich.
That's funny.
The sandwich is terrible. I hate everything about the sandwich. No one touched that job.
I'm not
He's
saying
like, I'm not signing that abomination. Oh my god, he's just like so mad. He's so upset. Well, there's some people who get there are some people that get that upset. Well, just think of it this way. If there are people that upset to burn their sneakers because a certain company decides to put somebody as a spokesperson, then I'm sure there's somebody who will get that upset about a sandwich.
Mm-hmm. That's true in real life. Yeah,
I can easily imagine Short Fuse being a New Yorker.
Oh my gosh! Don't get him started. Don't get him started about sandwiches. But here's the thing: don't get him started about pizza.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You know what? Actually, you know what? Get him started. You know what? Get him started on pizza. I want to see what happens.
Okay, here's an example from one of Short Fuse's food critic reviews on pizza.
It's Gordon Ramsay. It's Gordon Ramsay. That's what it is. It's Gordon Ramsay.
I was about to say, yeah.
It's Gordon freaking Ramsay. Oh my god. Just put Short Fuse's personality in a chef's pony. Boom. It's Gordon Ramsay pony. It's Gordon Ramsay pony. There you go.
Well, we already have Gordon Ramsay pony, but we have the consumer version of him.
Fair enough.
We already have a pony version of him in the show.
Enough about Short Fuse. Does anyone want to talk about Rolling Thunder?
The one that's like, now that's not a knife. Now that's a knife. The one Australian one.
Okay.
That was a nice moment with her, among other reasons. That they showed that these characters do get hurt and they do shrug it off. It's like, okay, it comes with the job. You stick it in stick an ice pack on it. You get a massage.
I was like thinking
you rub ointment on those burns.
That song thunder.
Thunder, hear the thunder.
Lightning and the thunder.
Alright, somebody pointed out, yeah, that's what thunder sounds like. No wonder that there are more epic rock songs out there.
Like there's also the other one, the one from 4.
Yeah, like that. Comparing the two. It's like, yeah, imagine if the thunder, hear the thunder started playing in that scene in Thor Ragnarok. That would be like,
oh, that'd be hilarious.
Nobody would have been intimidated.
But isn't Venus is still lime green the color of evil?
Well, Lightning Dust isn't really lime green, is she?
No, but the Washouts suit and the lime green, what was that?
Lime
the
green
gas.
was black.
Yeah,
Okay,
or what
yeah.
it was, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I guess I'm evil.
Alright, well, I can tell that that's true.
Aww.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, like it's honestly like the moments that are good here, even just hinting at what it could have been, like Lightning Dust, her frenemy moments with Rainbow Dash, and the good moments with Scootaloo, and heck, I mean, even the Matt Foley reference. As much as I want to say, oh look, he's being Nick Confalone again, like I couldn't not be a little bit entertained by that. So I mean, like, I can't say I honestly had a bad time with this episode, and I think maybe I'd be closer to Gator and Jenn if I could take his humor when it's just like when he's digging a bigger ditch with the no, they're that over the top, they're that silly. I'm like, okay, I feel like you're trying to get me to smoke a drug that lost its effect on me a long time ago. So, but I mean, like, even so, yeah, it passed the time. I'd probably at least score it in the C range. Season 8, I mean, as much as I would want to say, like, yeah, for season 8, that's one of the better ones. Like even that probably, at least on my card, isn't true. Season 8 is, well, okay, I won't mention more, just the lowest season by far on my card as of now. But yeah, like it still gave me a handful of like B grade episodes. So call it like you see it.
Ooh, just yeah. I was sort of looking in. That's what I meant by like anticipation. Like this was literally what I felt like was Wonderbolt Academy Part Deuce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deuce indeed. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I know I got reined in whatever negativity, but still couldn't resist. You made it too easy.
I know. I know how to line them up, hook, line, and sinker.
Yep.
I also like to have them make a petition of like Rolling Thunder for actually good pony waifu of the week instead of like whatever we had in season 6.
What kind of masochist are you if you want Rolling Thunder as your wife?
He wants to roll in the hay.
That accent, though.
Roll in the hay with Rolling Thunder.
Day Lover is our sweet, smiling, secretly evil pony.
Yay!
That's a good one, Day Lover. That's another good one there. But still, what kind of masochist are you if you want that for? You want Rolling Thunder for your wife? Who is just somebody who likes the pain.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, yeah, I remember. It's like, yeah, I remember this time in Vegas. Never mind. Never mind.
No.
Never mind. Never mind.
Any other final thoughts on this episode?
Wish they could have they could have done something a little different with the fact of Scootaloo growing up. Having Lightning Dust back, kind of I don't know what to think about having Lightning Dust back, but an idea of having like those who washed out of the Wonderbolts have their own thing, but I don't know, something a little. Just wish Lightning Dust wasn't really involved in it. because I'm like, if she's involved, this can't be good.
Mhm.
But other than that, I'm gonna have to say this is a good and actually really good episode. Just a good one. That's it.
I'd like to point out that Twilight actually had an interesting part in this episode, like being a little fangirl for the Washouts, because
that was kind of fun.
That was actually a really nice character quirk from her this episode. Just her actually being entertained by the Washouts and watching an autograph.
Yeah.
You don't really see that. You don't really see that of her outside of like the academics and the magic incline.
You don't see her fangirling, and that's it, except over like books or if she would Star Swirl. But it is different seeing her just this kind of fangirl about anything else.
Yeah,
Well, on that note, why did they pick Twilight of all characters?
I mean, she's been
needed somebody to. They needed somebody. They needed somebody because Twilight's usually the voice of reason, and they needed somebody for Rainbow Dash to be like et tu.
Yeah.
Well, they needed someone else to follow. They needed someone else to follow Rainbow Dash around, so it was either Twilight or Fluttershy.
And the fact that Fluttershy is even in the credits for this episode, yeah, I think I know what they chose with.
Yeah. It could have been like really interesting if we found out like Fluttershy was a fan of the Washouts.
Oh, that would be funny.
Hours getting her not.
Honestly, I felt that would have been more entertaining than Twilight. Because Twilight is just like, oh, it's a thing. Because Fluttershy, the two people closest to sort of Rainbow Dash is Scootaloo and Fluttershy. So it makes more sense that she would get a little upset more, like if like their two best friends are like fangirling over like some other group. Is like, yeah, I mean, her ego is big, but I would feel insecure too at that point, or something like that.
Yes.
Although, like Fluttershy, if she gets too scared to watch Trixie's act, that would be. I mean, that could be a pretty funny joke. It would be a hard sell, though. Like you'd have to time it well.
True. Yeah. Very, very true.
Fluttershy is scared the first time, and then Rainbow Dash, I don't know, is going to her house to fret, and then finds her leaving to go watch the Washout show. What? Like, what can I say? They grew on me.
Okay.
I do like it how it turned from like obviously Rainbow Dash is jealous now that she doesn't have her number one fan, but then later on it turned into like her being actually concerned for Scootaloo's welfare.
Yeah.
Again, if they want to focus down the moral to like ditch the ego thing and focus more on the relationship of Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash.
Yeah.
And Scootaloo's
the ego thing felt so dragged out of the closet. It felt like it was a non-compete clause, like it was in every trait through the motions conflict of opinion. Like I almost wish instead of actually I could see a couple of gags about it, like DC said before, sure, throw that in there, it's her trait if you have good jokes, but like I almost wish that part of the episode had been like instead, not that she's afraid she's going to lose her fangirl, but that she's afraid she's going to lose her little sister.
Mm-hmm.
That I think could have, yeah. Well, you said it, been stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just overall capitalizing on the huge amount of missed opportunities this episode presents.
But I liked most of it, and I really think like there were passages that hit me with the that she couldn't fly and stuff like that. So I think like there was some good morals there. It's just like a lot in once.
Though Veronica is just like looking through the feed just to see what Fluttershy's reaction was to the show, and like the only like reaction we got is like when they looks like the one lightning dust is that actually no, that doesn't make sense. It looks like lightning dust was the one that was almost crushed, but it was the other one that got the injury.
Maybe they switched out in the last second.
Who knows? But I was going back to Fluttershy's reaction. I said it was so funny because like her seems like Fluttershy couldn't handle show. Like it's so funny because like she seems like the most timid of the reactions. Like everyone else looks like horrified that she was crushed, and Fluttershy just basically like she's her reaction is like holding the hoof over her mouth is like, oh my. That's what it looks. So like everyone else is like mouths agape, literally.
Nature is so fascinating.
That is like the best. Like that is the best panel from the comics. Period.
Nature is so fascinating. My God, it's coming right for us.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's coming right for us.
So, yeah, but yeah, anyway, any other closing thoughts?
Nothing really. I'm good.
Nope.
I'm Gucci.
Only.
G-Main?
What is it? I think only, I guess, 6 more episodes because is it 25 or 26 we end at?
No. Right now it's 5 episodes.
Yeah, counting the 2-parter as one, it's 5.
I mean, like they are 2 parts to it, so it is 6 with the 2-parter. All right,
That's
right.
All right, but yeah, I guess see y'all next time.
Good night, every pony.